We're going to talk about insulin resistance and weight loss, weight gain, the inability to lose weight, and why that's all happening. And no, it's not the weight that creates insulin resistance. It's the insulin resistance that creates the weight, although the weight can cause some insulin resistance to get worse too. So it's, again, a never ending cycle. Good morning, sunshine. Good morning. How's everybody doing? It's I'm a little late today. So it is what it is. I stayed up way too late last night working and thought I would wake up, and I sure didn't, because you know what? I'm not suffering from sleep apnea anymore, so I sleep well. Anyway, um, let's dive in, you guys. I love talking about insulin resistance because it's affecting so many of us, and it can change the landscape of everything in our world when we understand what insulin resistance is. So here we go. I'm going to talk about what insulin resistance is, what causes it, some of the things that can happen when you have insulin resistance, and then I'm going to tell you how I reversed my insulin resistance and how you can too. And we're going to give you some answers as to what to do if you think this is you. If you guys want during this live today, ask and I will go over some ways that you can tell if it's you. Look at, I want to pause for a second. You see the medications and stuff up there? It's not necessary. This is a dietary disorder. So am I saying don't go see your doctor? No, I'm not. But I'm saying that if it's a dietary disorder, medications aren't going to fix it. They may mask the symptoms, but they're not going to fix it. So if you can understand that this is you and start addressing the root cause of it, then you can most likely get better. Now, some of the things I'm going to talk about, there are other issues that could cause those. So yes, work with your doctor. But if you know that insulin resistance is you, start addressing it. Don't wait for some pill that they're having lawsuits about now, saying about how it's causing gallbladder damage and all of these other things. So be careful. But all right, dietary disorder. We know that, right? It's born of the food that we eat that's so imperfect that it's causing us to be sick and sick constantly. Not just the excess weight, but brain fog and body aches and pains and constant hunger and sleep apnea and hypertension. All of those things lead in. And isn't it interesting that a number of the things that I talk about, people always address and say, just lose weight and that will get better. This is because you're overweight that you're having all of these things. Well, let's I was searching for an analogy and I don't have one. That can happen too. Yes, yes. Inflammation from excessively high glyphosate. You know that insulin resistance can contribute to that. So insulin resistance can cause inflammation in the body. Now the crazy thing with insulin resistance, which I was starting to talk about right off the bat, is that there are a number of things that can cause insulin resistance besides just the dietary disorder. So the dietary problems, eating too much sugar or food that converts to sugar too quickly, is hugely important with this. But there are things like trauma and stress that can cause insulin resistance. So that stress response in the body, that inflammation in the body can cause insulin resistance. And when that happens, all of this stuff happens as well. So there is that. And you'll notice when you start to get your insulin resistance under control, that the inflammation starts to go down. And part of our weight, a number of us, part of the weight is inflammation being held in the body. Part of the weight is fat stored, right? So either way, we start to get rid of those things, the weight starts to go down. Amazing, huh? So let's dive in. What did I just say? I just said that sugar is not always the cause or the initial cause of insulin resistance. Yes, yes, I did say that. So look at, if you've been in the hospital, if you've had surgery after surgery, or if you've just had some major trauma, or you've had a head trauma, or you've just been going through a lot of stress in your life, you know, those relationships that cause stress, that causes inflammation in the body, and that can cause insulin resistance. I haven't said how to get rid of it, because if you don't understand why it's happening, you're not going to understand the how. Okay, so we're gonna get there. Just hang out for a minute. I've been live for less than 5 minutes, honey. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Just hold on. So all of that's causing insulin resistance. The trauma and stuff can cause that as well. But um, what's then happening is your body's dysregulated with the sugars that you're getting in. So if we understand that we're eating too often and we're eating foods that are converting into sugar too quickly, we can understand where insulin resistance is coming from. And don't go thinking that, oh, she's going to tell me I have to go vegan or I have to go carnivore or I have to do all these crazy things. No, that's not it. But what I need you to understand is that our food environment is this may help you, Eva. This may help you. So if your food is imperfect, so 93% of us are metabolically unhealthy, and I will cut it short and tell you because I want you to understand. But ooh, there's so much. If your neurologist says your inflammation is high, um, you know that insulin resistance happens in the brain as it happens throughout the body, and it affects your neurons, it affects your nerve endings, it affects so much more than just fat. Okay, I want you to understand that. I'm not going to have time to go into it all right now, but our food, 93% of us are metabolically unhealthy. That means 93% of us are struggling. So what I want to stop and say is if we had a school that had 93% of the kids failing, we wouldn't go to the kids and say, you're not doing enough. You're not doing the right things. We may be going to the school, and most likely we'd be going to the school and be like, what's going on? My kid is failing, but so are 93% of other kids. And so there's something wrong with this school if 93% of us are failing. That's what's happening to us. Okay. That's what's happening to us. So if we understand that, the food that we're given, even the raw organic food we're given, is changed, it's modified, it's very different from what it's supposed to be, and our bodies don't know what to do with it in the bottom line. Okay. So things like phytonutrients, fibers, and enzymes have been stripped out of our food, and that's why we're getting sick. Again, I'm not going to tell you you have to go vegan. I'm not going to tell you you have to do keto or carnivore or any of that. What we need to do is start putting back what's been stripped out so our bodies can handle the load of the energy that it's converting and not have the insulin resistance. Now, I didn't go over why insulin resistance, but Eva, I'm going to give you your answer because I'm impatient too. So, and I want you to feel better. That's scary to me when your neurologist says your inflammation is high. Our food is not natural anymore. So one of the things that we have to do, I'm going to give you 6 simple tips, and then I'm going to show you the protocol that I'm doing that helped get rid of my inflammation, my brain fog, my 55 pounds of weight, and a number of other things. That almost everything that's up here is stuff that I suffered from. Okay. So the 6 simple things you can do. And by the way, I do have an ebook. You can go to my profile, tap on that. There will be a free ebook listed. Get that because it's going to give you the 6 simple things I'm going to list right now. So you don't have to write it down. Just get the ebook and it will cover it all for you. But you need to get fiber in first. Why fiber? So many doctors and nutritionists, doctors like Dr. Lee, Dr. Yao, Dr. Fung, Dr. Bickman, all of these guys are saying how fiber is this one nutrient that we're missing. I did a video a few weeks ago and I called it a superhero, and it really is. Fiber has been stripped from our foods. That's how peaches have gone from the size of this to the size of my fist, because they took fibers out and pumped up the fructose in that. So now we have more sugar, less fiber. Well, fiber is meant to not only clean you out and make you poop, fiber is meant to some fibers, there are 3 specific ones that are meant to slow down the sugars when we eat them. But if we don't have fibers paired with our carbohydrates, we have a problem. And we need to understand that. And I'm not, when we talk about carbohydrates, does everybody think they know what carbohydrates are? Because it's way different than you think. So type of 1 if you think you know what I'm saying when I talk about carbohydrates. And it's not a big deal because I didn't understand this at one point either. So that's why I'm here to help you understand. So, okay, we'll come back to carbohydrates in a minute, but fiber, you've got to get in fiber first before you eat. Every time you eat, number 1, your gut microbiome needs those. There's prebiotics in them that are feeding the probiotics in your system. If you're one of those people who's constantly feeling like they have to take probiotics, it means you're not getting in the right prebiotics to feed what's naturally building in your gut. And so the negative gut bacteria is building and you're getting sick. Fiber first before you eat, every time you eat. Then prioritize protein. Most of us are not getting in enough protein, and protein is necessary for both fat loss and it's necessary for just the normal functioning of our metabolism. And when we're not getting in enough protein, we have a problem. So my daughter is taking her nutritionist class and she shared with me something really interesting. I learned from all kinds of places. But if we're not getting in at least 20 grams of protein, our body doesn't synthesize it correctly, meaning it doesn't utilize it correctly. So if you're getting in 8 or 10 grams of protein thinking I'm doing good because I had this little protein bar, protein shake, your body's not going to utilize it. You need to get between 20 and 40 grams of protein for your body to utilize it. Prioritize protein on your plate. That's the first thing you should be eating is your protein. Whether you're vegan or whether you're carnivorous, you need to get the protein in first. Then you want to fill up with fats, healthy fats, not the seed oils, not the canola oil or the cottonseed oil or the vegetable oil or all of those things. Those are Eva, those are helping contribute to inflammation in your body. So Mason, I'll come back to that in just a second. Um, so seed oils will cause inflammation in your body. So I'm going to pause one more second. Think about your oils like this. If you can squeeze it and get oil out of it, it's probably a good oil for you to have. So avocados, olives, coconut, and then just butter, ghee, the animal fats. Those are fats that are not going to be causing inflammation in your system. I love coconut oil. I use it for a lot of things. I use butter for cooking. Okay. There are no other oils in my house. I have olive oil, coconut oil, butter. That's it. None of those other oils because they're causing inflammation and damage that can cause more insulin resistance. There's a lot of science on that. I'm not going to share the studies right now because this is not the time or place, but I've done videos on that before. So fiber, protein, fats. That's how you should eat. Fiber first, then eat your proteins, then eat your fats. This matters in how your insulin spikes and how your blood sugars spike. Then save your carbohydrates for last. So if you're going to have that Hawaiian roll or that croissant, gotta fix this, it drives me crazy, or any of that stuff, have it at the end. After you've filled up with protein and then paired that with some healthy fats, then you can have your carbohydrates if you have room for them left, okay? So those are the four: fiber, protein, fats, and then limit your carbs. We're going to come back to what carbs are in just a second. I want to get through these last two. Then you want to do some time-based eating. Remember I said we eat way too often, way too much? Stop eating every 2 hours. All that's doing is pumping up your blood sugars, pumping up your insulin, and causing it to never feel like it can come down. When insulin is present, you're storing fat and your cells are becoming resistant to it. Then move your body. You guys, I am an advocate for moving. If you're like I was in such pain when I first did the protocol and did all these things that I couldn't get off the couch because it hurt. Every step I took was extreme pain, but you still got to move your body. I don't care if you're doing arm exercises, if you're just, if you're just getting up and dancing in place, move your body. Your body is 25 to 30% muscle. The more you can move that skeletal muscle, the more it's going to take up the insulin and the more insulin sensitive you become, giving the rest of the cells a break so they can breathe like, okay, now they're not being inundated by insulin. Those are the 6 steps. Get the ebook that will go over all of that. Now, the other thing that we can do that I did that changed everything for me is I do a protocol that's based on 2 real food products. And look, I get it. I get the thing that, oh, everybody's just trying to sell you something. I'm not gonna, like, 2.5 years ago, I was on medications, 10 different medications just for my blood pressure, my insulin resistance, all of that. I've ditched all of those things. So now what I do is, yeah, the weight loss can make it disappear, but you've got to, for most people, they've got to understand how to get the weight off. All right, so that girl said, I used to have inflammation so bad, weight loss made it disappear. Eva says just moving hurts because of her inflammation. So let's talk about those couple of things really quick, and then I'm going to show you what I did to get rid of my inflammation, my pain, get off of 10 different medications, and as well as I always forget to add in the 3 for pain, okay? So I was on Hydro, Norco, I was doing gabapentin for muscle relaxers, and then I was cycling through Tylenol, Advil, anything I could get my hands on because my pain levels were so high. I couldn't sleep. I felt like I couldn't move. I couldn't work in medical anymore. I was just done. I felt like I was dying, and I probably was. But, so this is going to help. How do you know if you have inflammation? If you are having random pain, if you can see swelling in your body, if you're having food sensitivities, there are so many ways. Why don't I do this, Mason? I will do a video today on signs and symptoms of inflammation. One of the things that most of us are suffering with most is just simply inflammation in the body. And it can not only dysregulate the hormone insulin, but it will dysregulate all your other hormones too. So your leptin, your ghrelin, your thyroid, your sex hormones can all be disrupted by inflammation. And I will explain that later in the live if anybody wants to know. Now, I said carbohydrates. Before I get to the solution, let's talk about the carbohydrates really quick because I promised that. When we look at our food, there are 3 what they call macros in our food. So there's carbohydrates, there's protein, and there's fats. So I want you to think about this. If it's not a fat and it's not a protein, then it is a carbohydrate. You guys have got to stop thinking about carbohydrates just being bread and rice and potatoes, because every vegetable, every fruit is a carbohydrate, and it all adds up. Every fruit, every vegetable has been changed from what it used to be, and fibers have been stripped, so that sugar in that fruit or vegetable is converting in your body much quicker than it ever used to. So what I'm doing, remember I said stop eating so much. I'm having this tea this morning, and I will not eat until noon. And it's okay because I'm not hungry. I have a tea that I have in the morning that gives me mental clarity, gives me energy, it allows me to burn fat for fuel, allows my insulin to stay down so that it's under control and it's not causing all the problems in the body. And it's keeping me satiated because I'm burning my own fat for fuel. It's a different energy than we've experienced. The first time I experienced it, I was like, what is this? I've never experienced energy like this before. So I do a tea in the morning. I fast for about 16 hours, and it's easy, way easier than you think. So I had my dinner about 6 o'clock last night. About 6 o'clock this morning, I'm 12 hours in. I wait 4 more hours, so that's 10 o'clock in another hour. My 16 hours of fasting is done. Boom, that's it. So then what I do is when I do eat, remember I said fiber first. So I utilize this because I know that I cannot always find the correct fibers. I travel a lot. I'm on the run a lot. I'm a very, very ADHD and busy woman. So I utilize this fiber. I just put it in some water, like about this, and I shake it up, and then I drink it down, wait 10 minutes, and then I eat. What happens then is this fiber gets in my stomach. It's that precursor prophylactic to the sugars that we're about to eat. Remember, because any carbohydrate is anything that's not a fat or a protein. So that goes in my gut. It starts to gel up and create this gelatinous ball in my gut that helps make me feel full quicker, so I don't want to eat as much. It helps, for me, it helps coat an acidic gut, or where you have the acid reflux and ulcers and all that. It helped me start to heal all of that up. And then when you do eat, that gel in the gut is going to encapsulate the food. Good morning, Melba. And it's going to make it so that it does not pass through the digestive system too quick. When it doesn't pass through so quick, you're not having a blood sugar spike, and you're not having an insulin spike. And now things are starting to get under control. So it slows it down. It's like time release to all of that food that you just ate. Instead of doing like slam you up against the wall and drop you to the floor, it's this nice, even like wave instead of this roller coaster ride. Okay, so that's what the fiber does. But not only that, because it's slowing down the delivery of that, you stay fuller longer. So you're less likely to eat all the time. This is why we're hungry all the time, because fibers have been stripped out. So this has 7 different fibers, soluble and insoluble, and they will help with all of that. They've been scientifically designed over 20 years of study to do this. Now, to get it, I've had people asking. So let's go over that because I want you guys to get it so that you can understand what may be happening with you and how you're going to start to feel better. Over on Facebook and TikTok, I'm going to show you guys in just a second. Let's get this done. Uh-oh. I hit a wrong button again. How does that happen? How do I hit wrong buttons? Because that's me. Come on. All right. So if you go to my profile, if you go to the picture up above and tap on it, there'll be a box come up below. Tap on that again. You're going to get to my profile. If you look and you see these two red lights right here, just see this link. That's what you want to click on. And that's going to take you to my landing page. This is where, this very top one is where you're going to order. Right down here is that free ebook for those 6 simple steps I went over, and then every other social media plan I'm on. Plus, you guys, if you need to talk to me to make sure that this is for you, right down at the bottom there is this contact me on WhatsApp. Just utilize that and you can contact me and we'll have a chat and see if this is right for you. Okay, so you're going to click on this top one. That's going to take you to this page. It should say Michelle Fayon at the top. I'm an authorized distributor for this. If you buy it from someone who's not authorized, you're not getting a 90-day money-back guarantee. You're not getting coaching. You're not getting the quality guarantees, and you're not getting the best price guarantee. You never pay more than I do. So then click on Buy Now, and then you're going to see this. You get 30 of the tea. You get 60 of the pre-meal drink for 1 tea in the morning, 1 pre-meal drink before you eat anything. And then you're going to come over. Right now it has lemon ginger selected. So what that means to me is that we're running low on lemon. Now, if you love ginger, I would go ahead and do the lemon ginger. If you don't love ginger already, please do yourself the favor and just get the lemon. Okay. If you love coffee and you don't think you can get over not having coffee, the black is the same tea. It just has a little bit of coffee in it and a little bit of black tea for color and taste so that it tastes more like coffee. You can do that. Then the pre-meal drink only comes in this orange right now, but it tastes like an orange creamsicle. I just gave some samples to a dear friend of mine and she was like, wow, it tastes amazing. And she's very healthy person who's very worried about everything that she eats. So then you're going to click on the monthly subscription. That's going to give you $5 off. So it costs you about $5 a day. You can cancel that at any time, though. Like literally, you can place your order today. You get nervous tomorrow. You say, I'm going to cancel. You can cancel. So just save yourself the $5. I want you to save money. And then you get free delivery. That saves you about another $10 here in the US. You're going to get this free hand mixer. That's where you're going to order it. Okay. So I hope that helped that. That's where you get it. And you guys, look, if you're having inflammation, if you're having brain fog, if you're having difficulty losing weight, please just try it. You need to try it because it's the one thing that changed my life and so many others. Can I tell you a quick story? Emily, I hope, oh, let me get them the link to that. Okay, you guys over there on Facebook land, love you so much. That's the link to everything I just showed them on TikTok. Okay, you guys over here. So you guys, 2.5 years ago, I was at the doctor's office at least twice a month. I was so sick. Yes, my body was riddled with inflammation. I had neuropathy, I had edema, I had sleep apnea, I had high blood pressure, I had high lipids, my liver was failing. I just was a mess and I was in pain all the time. And I had been cycled through different medications. They even put me on metformin. I never, ever, ever did those GLP-1 activators or agonists called semaglutide, Mounjaro, Trulicity, all of those things that, by the way, they're now renaming it, and I can't remember the name, so that it's for weight loss. But you guys, there are a lot of side effects and complications that come with that. I've had people contact me telling me about their thyroid, their liver, their kidneys that have all been damaged after taking those medications. So be very careful with the quick weight loss claims. Okay, so 2 years ago, I've also lost 3 joints. Both of my hips have been replaced and 1 knee. And my life was nothing but pain physically all day, every day. And I wanted it to end. Honestly, I wanted it to end. I went from crying, thinking I was going to die in my sleep, to crying like, please don't make me be here anymore because this hurts so bad. That's where I was at when I found the system. Um, Now I'm fine. I don't take the pain medications. I sleep just fine because the pain's not waking me up. My sleep apnea is not waking me up. All of those things are better. But I remember going to a doctor because one of the surgeries I had to have 2.5 years ago was a hernia surgery. But that little doctor said she wasn't going to do the hernia surgery if I didn't lose weight. So I literally broke down in tears. Guess what? Emotional dysregulation can happen with insulin resistance as well. Anxiety, depression, those high emotions, that can happen with insulin resistance. But I broke down crying because I was like, Doc, I've tried everything. I did keto, I did veganism, I did gluten free, I worked out 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. I could not lose weight. I'm like so frustrated. Like, I don't, give me a better answer than just lose weight. Help me understand how to lose weight. So she said, well, I'll send you to a nutritionist. But the nutritionist was not open because it was at the end of COVID and they still were backlogged. So it was going to be at least 2 months before I could see a nutritionist. I think it was 3 months before I could see a nutritionist. She would not schedule the surgery until I lost 15 pounds. In the meantime, I found the protocol that I just showed you guys. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I got to try something. I'm going to do it because nothing else has worked and I can't live like this anymore. I'm skeptical, but what the hell? I get my money back if it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. So lo and behold, by the time I went in at just over 3 months in for my visit with her to see if I'd lost the weight, and I just had gotten a hold of the nutritionist, I'd lost 25 pounds. And I had not been able to lose more than 5 pounds before that. So I lost 25 pounds. She was shocked. She was visibly shocked. She later told me that she thought she was never going to schedule that surgery because she thought I was never going to lose the weight. So, with that, how many of you guys feel like you get gaslit by medical providers? You get gaslit by the nutritionist, you get gaslit by all these gym bros and all these people on here who say they know how to help you lose weight, or that if you just did veganism, if you just did carnivore, if you just cared more about yourself, you would be able to lose the weight. How many of you guys have had that happen to you and you're like, I have tried. Y'all don't know my life. Don't make assumptions about me. Don't think that I lay on the couch and don't do anything but stuff my face full of donuts, because that's not the way it is, right? Right. And I get so mad still because I get so frustrated. Like, you guys, number one, those of you who don't know me, I was a world champion power lifter. Good morning, dear. Dan says, following my teachings, he's feeling better. He started implementing the things I talk about and he's feeling better. That's amazing. So yeah, they just throw medicine at it. Oh, my battery's going dead. My battery's going dead because I'm on fire. All right, yeah, frustrated. And that's where I was. I was literally, that's why I cried, because I was so frustrated. I'm like, why does no one just help? Why can't anyone, the password to work? So Vicky, I don't know what password. There shouldn't be a password. If you're just signing up, you've got to set your own password. And if you're having problems, just text me and we'll get you in. So get my ebook, The 6 Simple Steps. I just went over those. I'll go over them again in a minute. But you guys understand that this is not a it is a medical thing because we're sick, right? But it's not something that requires medication. Medications, I would invite everyone to understand, they're great. If you've had an injury and you need to stave off pain or inflammation, great, have medications. If you have a genetic disorder that's actually going to be helped by medications, do them. My grandson has a genetic disorder that he's on medication 3 times a day to save his little life. I'm all about those medications. Trust me, I'm all about those. But when it comes to the fact that we're just eating too often, eating food that converts to sugar too quickly, I am not about those medications. They're causing more damage than good. So what you're going to do, how do I feel about the diabetic shot they're using for weight loss? Yeah, nope, don't. So this is me. I can't tell you don't. I want to just be like, don't do it. Because here's the thing. If you were able to look at, and they've changed the PDR, it pisses me off. Um, Metformin is probably the best one of them, and that's according to doctors like Bickman and Fung, but I don't like medications. Metformin was hard on me. It made every cell in my body hurt worse. It made me sick. I just couldn't deal with it. I had headaches. I had a really bad reaction to metformin. And why do those medications? What those medications are doing is trying to mask the fact that you have too much insulin by forcing your body into reactions. So if you can support your body by giving it what it needs, then why not do that? Look, this is not quick weight loss. Some people experience quicker weight loss. Some people like me, I didn't lose any weight for 6 weeks, right? Yeah, Rita, you're so great. So Rita says people always think if you're overweight, you just stuff your mouth with food and lay on the couch and watch Netflix, right? That's what they think. Yeah, you vomited last night from metformin. Um, all right, so we're talking about medications. Whew, there's so much to say here, but in the prescriber's digital reference, it used to list all the side effects of those medications. So it can affect your thyroid, it can affect your liver, it can affect your kidneys, it can affect your pancreas. Okay, why? I'll talk about that in a minute. But you guys, it also can cause you to actually replicate fat cells. So now when you're done with your weight loss, you have more fat cells. You haven't addressed the root cause of why the weight came on in the first place. So guess what happens within a year or two of you stopping that medication? Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I haven't seen that, but thank you. I'll go look that up, Kelly. Um, I know there are so many people who advocate for metformin, like Brian Johnson, the guy who's reverse aging. He likes metformin, but I just have never felt, I felt like there was something with metformin I didn't like. Now, look, not a doctor, not a nutritionist. I'm a woman who got sick and got better. I worked in medical offices. I had 2 family members who worked for Big Pharma. So I have an understanding of some of the stuff, okay? But those other medications, what they're doing is they're forcing your body to produce more insulin. So if we already have too much insulin in our system and that's causing a problem, then why on earth would we force our body to create more? So you wonder why people are having pancreatitis. The pancreas, yeah, Rita. Rita refused to take metformin because she has family members that got really sick. And sorry, Kelly, I keep forgetting to read these for everybody. New studies have shown metformin causes cancer. Eva says, I thought about the shot, but honestly, she's afraid of it. And you guys, so this is it. So those things are called GLP-1 agonists. Part of what they're doing is they're forcing your body to produce more insulin to try and get your cells to be like, okay, insulin, I'm already resistant to you, but I'm going to take this up. Okay, not a good idea. Um, so there are other ways that pancreatitis can happen, but the most common way is this overload of sugar in our body, meaning the pancreas is having to produce insulin at such a high rate that it gets sick. Okay, so those drugs can cause pancreatitis because they're forcing your pancreas to work harder. Then they're forcing the cells open. Those cells that are like, I don't want to take you insulin. I'm so sick of hearing from you. I don't want to take the energy you have anymore. They're forcing those cells open. And do we all know what happens when we force our body to do something? Do we all understand that? So it's forcing the cells open so that they will take in that energy called glucose that insulin is carrying around. Then they're also this is crazy to me. They're downregulating glucagon. Glucagon is the component to insulin, and I'll go over that in a second. But the other thing that happens is in many people, it's replicating fat cells. Yes, you guys, not everybody. Some people are born with the same fat cells that they have today. That's great for them, but that's not everybody. Then there's a group of people like me. I'm sure that I replicated some excess fat cells because I wasn't insulin or I didn't show the signs of insulin resistance for a long time. I got up to 270 pounds before it started showing. Okay. Some people can show it when they're 20 pounds overweight, but your fat cells can replicate. So if you've had a doctor or somebody tell you, you never make more fat cells, they just inflate and deplete. Well, that's wrong. They're not right. You can actually make more fat cells. Those drugs, those shots, actually have you create more fat cells. So now your nausea is gone. Within a couple of years, the nausea goes away. You're no longer having that effect, or you've lost the weight, so you come off the drug. But you've overloaded your pancreas. You've taught your body to not want to produce glucagon, and you've created more fat cells. Then what happens? What happens? You gain the weight back, and oftentimes then some. But in the meantime, now you've had probably, like I've had so many people call me and tell me, thyroid problems, kidney problems, liver problems, gastroparesis, where the stomach starts to get paralyzed. That happens. The gallbladder, why the gallbladder? Because it's getting paralyzed as well, and the liver's being overworked as well. All of those things can happen from those things that you were asking about. So if you thought about it and said no, I'm going to say hallelujah. You just probably saved yourself a whole lot of trouble. Good morning, Jason. I saw your face pop up, or your name pop up. So you guys, that's that. All right. So the system, let's see, on Ozempic since April now, he's got huge insulin numbers. So look at Jason is here. And Jason, will you tell them, I can't do live because I have a whole other group on and they won't be able to see or hear you. But Jason is my hero. Jason and I met a year and a half ago. He started. Okay, I've got to read that comment out here, but I want to finish with Jason. I got distracted. Imagine that. Jason has started at almost 400 pounds. He's now under 300 pounds. He that it was higher than that, wasn't it? Yeah. So Jason has lost about 160 pounds. He took his A1C from 13.3 down to is 5.7 now, Jason. And he's reversed a number of things like his sleep apnea, pain, swelling, all of that. And all he's done is the protocol that I talk about: a tea in the morning and a pre-meal drink before he eats anything. And he has just been a rock star. Now, his doctor wanted to put him on medications, wanted him to do gastric surgery. He wanted him to do all of those things. And Jason said no. He talked to me. He gave this system a shot. And I would tell you that he is not sorry that he did. He may have hopped back out because he has to go to work. So metformin was recalled in 2023 because of a known carcinogen. Right. So, okay, I need to look that up, Kelly. You're giving me some great information. Um, it's crazy. You guys be careful with medications. Only use them when you have to. That's really when they're supposed to be used. We are not meant to have um, medications like Tic Tacs. So, and that's what we're doing. We're just like, if there's something going on, throw a medication at it. Something going on, throw a medication at it. It's not fixing the problem. It's covering it up. Right? CP, and that's why I'm not an advocate for medications. I just hate them. Thank you, Jason. Jason said this is the best thing he ever did, and I saved his life. And I didn't save his life. He made the choice to do the system. So he, being the smart, like Jason is so smart, you guys. He teaches me things, and like I just got goosebumps, Jason. I love you so much. But he saved his own life because he was smart enough to understand that all the other stuff was BS and that he needed to do something different. So, Francis, I'm going to read your statement. She said, after 3 programs, she's on this program. It'll be a month tomorrow. Have not seen a change, but you sleep less. Okay, so maybe I'm understanding that your fatigue is less. So you've not been able to get rid of your big belly. That's going to come. That's going to come. You've only been doing it for a month. But she quit her metformin, and her numbers now are just as good with this program as they were when she was on metformin. Her mom was on metformin and died with dementia. So look at dementia and Alzheimer's are linked to insulin resistance. She blamed metformin and did Ozempic for 4.5 months and only lost 7 pounds. Then she heard all the ugly truth on Ozempic, so she quit. And look at, so Francis, I understand you because I want to be really frank and just really upfront right now. When I started, I was like, yippee, hallelujah, this is the thing. This is going to change my life. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. About a month in, I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm not losing any weight. Okay. So I had a call and I was like, I'm not losing any weight. What's going on? Well, some of us are so insulin resistant and have so many other hormone problems and inflammation going on that it takes a minute for our body to start adjusting. I want you guys to think about it. If you've been sick for a long time, just calculate this. For every year you've been sick, you need to give yourself a week on the system to start feeling better. That's why we have a 90-day money back guarantee. That's why we want you to do it for 90 days. I didn't lose a single pound for 6 weeks, but then the weight fell off of me until I lost about 55 pounds. Now, if I had given up at 30 days, I wouldn't have the health I have today. I had to let that healthiness compound in my system. You've got to let your gut microbiome reset. You've got to let that inflammation come out. And it's not going to happen overnight. Anything that happens overnight is probably a scary thing, right? We all want the instant gratification. We all want things to change right now, but it doesn't, that's not always the healthy thing for us. So if we built up this system of disease and disorder in our body, we've got to understand that it's going to take a while for us to reverse that and start to feel healthy again. And when we're doing it with real food products, when we're doing it by supporting our body with what it needs to be healthy, it's going to take a minute. It's not always just quick. Okay. For some people it is. That's great. They probably haven't been as insulin resistant as long and their body's responding in a whole different way. My body had a whole lot of stuff to deal with before weight was even a concern. And I want you to understand that too. So when we talk about weight loss and that big belly, let's talk about those couple of things because it's so important. All right. Weight loss. When you're insulin resistant, you're losing muscle mass constantly. Okay. Your body, because remember your cells, and I didn't go over that very well this morning, so I can back up later if somebody needs me to. But with insulin resistance, there's so much insulin in your body trying to deliver the glucose because insulin is a saver and it's an energy delivery hormone. When there's so much energy being delivered all the time, the cells are like, I don't want to hear from you anymore. You're annoying. So they shut down to taking it in. And that includes your muscle cells. So if your muscle cells aren't taking in insulin, then they can't utilize protein properly. They can't build properly. And now you're losing muscle mass just naturally through insulin resistance while you're putting on fat. So less muscle, more fat, your body's ballooning up. Now, when we start to reverse that more naturally, you're not losing the muscle as you lose weight. You're losing the fat while the insulin resistance is going away. It's getting energy to the muscle, so the muscle is rebuilding. So now what that translates to is no change on the scale because weight, this amount of fat and this amount, or this amount of fat and this amount of muscle weigh very differently. This amount of muscle weighs way more than this amount of fat. So when you're putting on this muscle, the weight's not changing, but you've probably lost this amount of fat to keep that weight the same. Okay. So you're translating fat loss into muscle gain at first, and then it gets to a point where your body's at this tipping scale, which is where mine was at about 6 weeks in. My body was like, okay, we've got our natural muscle back. Let's just keep dropping the fat. And then I started seeing the weight loss come off. But if you will do measurements, if you will check your clothes, if you will check those things, you're probably noticing that you have your clothes are fitting better. Um, Even if it's not in your belly yet, that there are other areas where things just fit differently through your bust, through your arms, through your legs, through your butt. So I had bought a pair of denim shorts that I thought I'm gonna just, I don't like denim, but I was like, I'm gonna be cool this summer. I'm gonna wear these denim shorts. It's gonna look awesome. I couldn't put them on when I bought them. I couldn't even buckle them up. Within that first month, when I was complaining I hadn't lost any weight, I ran and got the shorts because I forgot to take measurements. My ADHD life, and I put them on and I could buckle them up. And they were starting to get loose in the legs and the butt, and they were tight before. So I didn't lose weight on the scale, but I was losing size in my body, which means I was losing fat. Now, the belly is insulin resistance. When you have insulin resistance, your body, there's a place in your brain called the hippocampus, and that gets dysregulated, and it starts saying, store visceral fat. Visceral fat is underneath the muscle wall. So it's like from, I'm going to say from your mouth down to your groin, there's a barrier of fat in there that's meant to keep everything warmed up. Not so much on the arms, legs, butt, right? But underneath the belly, there's this visceral fat. So you have white fat and you have brown fat. Visceral fat is brown. The subcutaneous jiggly stuff, that's white. But your body's cueing you to store more of the fat underneath the belly. That's why you get this bulging belly that pokes out, because insulin resistance is having you store more fat there. But what happens is this fat that was meant to be healthy for you, it's meant to cushion your organs. It's meant to keep your organs warm, because the brown fat has mitochondria in it. They're little powerhouses that makes that fat warm. So that's what visceral fat is supposed to do. But with insulin resistance, we start packing on too much of that. Now that fat that was good is choking off your organs, your liver, your stomach, your kidneys, all of the things that we have to have for healthy function, including your heart and your lungs, can get impacted. You can also get excess fat in your tongue. There's a syndrome called fat tongue, and that can cause sleep apnea. All of that happens with insulin resistance. So the visceral fat will come down. Francis, if you stay, and we need to have a conversation, text me, will you, today? I'm going to be out and about, but text me and let's have a conversation and see how everything is going with you, and see if I can pinpoint any ways to help you with the system and make sure that you're doing everything correctly, so that you're getting the best out of this possible, okay? Um, so, so it's really important that we address that, the insulin resistance, to get that visceral fat down. When we talk about paralysis in the gut, now not only are we having this impaction of fat in our cells or in our organs, we have this thing where our nerves are not firing correctly. So Rita, thank you. I hope to see you on the other side. I hope that we get you feeling better. And if just try it, you guys, before you go, just look, you can just give it 90 days. Try it and see if we can help. Late 30s, and in your, okay, wait, I missed something. As I'm chatting, I missed some things. Oh, Jason never heard of insulin resistance till I popped up. Okay, bye, Eva. She's already gone. Melissa, thank you. Okay. Tori, I don't understand the in your late 30s and you're afraid you can't due to hormones. So I want to talk about the fact that insulin is a hormone, and insulin is a primary hormone. So that means it takes precedence over all your other hormones, and it dysregulates your other hormones. So if you're having problems with estrogen and testosterone, if you're having problems with PCOS, this all links back to insulin resistance and actually starts with insulin resistance. If those are, I'm just going to dive off into that. I'm so happy, Rita. I really want people to start feeling better. Your testosterone is low. That's a different thing for women. It's usually the testosterone is high. PCOS, hair loss. So let me do some checking on the low testosterone and see if I can find answers. But you could just have a dysregulation. Now, if your testosterone is low, though, what's happening is it's not. Whew, let's back up. Androgens convert to estrogens. So women, we have to have testosterone. A lot of women don't understand this. We have to have testosterone in order to have estrogen and progesterone. Yes, it is safe for pre, post, and perimenopausal women. I'm postmenopause. So if your testosterone is low, you're already having problems converting into estrogen so that you have normal memory function, normal mood function, so many things, and your periods and whatnot. With low testosterone, that's going to cause a problem with everything else, because you have to have testosterone to get converted to have estrogen in your body. So the testosterone, I agree, you need to deal with that. But if you have insulin resistance, it's exacerbating that conversion of testosterone into estrogen, meaning you're converting even less of it. So there's nothing wrong with being able to do this and addressing the low testosterone at the same time for women. Now, PCOS and hair loss. Hair loss is part of PCOS. You can hardly see it. Sometimes like when I wake up in the morning, there's these hairs and they're like down to here now. So 2.5 years ago, I was going bald right here and over here. All of this hair was going away because I was balding and my hair was much thinner. I had PCOS since my 20s. I had a hard time. I call both my children immaculate conception because I was told I was never going to have children. Um, I had hard and irregular periods, but they weren't talking about PCOS back then. So PCOS, really brief description of PCOS and insulin resistance. I just talked about how you have to convert androgens into estrogens, right? For ladies, that happens in our ovaries. So we all have a cycle. We know this. What happens is our bodies put out this hormone called follicle stimulating hormone at the beginning of our cycle. That follicle stimulating hormone is telling our body to release eggs into the system. And so it takes a batch of eggs and it's just like grabbing a handful of rice and tossing it out, right? Okay, there you go. There's some eggs. Now those eggs start to grow. Generally one egg starts to get to the size and viability that it's like the body says, ooh, this egg is a good one. This one could produce a human being. We want to save this. And then the body starts telling the brain starts getting cues to create luteinizing hormone, and estrogen levels go up. Now, so that means that at the beginning of your phase, you're going to have more testosterone in your body, less estrogen. And when you start to have that egg that's forming and it's ready to go, then your estrogen levels are going up, the testosterone levels are going down. You're putting out this thing called not follicle stimulating, luteinizing hormone. What that does is it tells the eggs that aren't good, not that they're bad, they're just not the one, right? It tells those eggs to go away. Basically dissolves those eggs and they dissipate out and they're gone. And then we have this egg that's ready to be fertilized and the body's estrogen levels are going up to support that throughout conception. But with PCOS, because your body's not able to transfer androgens into estrogens, those estrogen levels never go up. That luteinizing hormone cue from the brain never really gets put out. So now those eggs that are not the one are sitting there. They're like, where do we go? What do we do? So what they do is they eventually go, oh, I'm not getting nutrients anymore. And they fall into the lining of your ovaries. And when they do, they get into the lining and they start to cause little cysts. So many eggs, polycystic, falling into the ovary lining and causing cysts, causing pain, causing dysregulation of your cycle. So now estrogen hasn't gone up, testosterone is still high. All these eggs are in your ovaries. You're having pain. Your periods are extremely painful. They're random because your body's not knowing when to clue that this egg was ready. And now that one egg is starting to die off too. So it has to go away. Finally, you have a period. It could be 6 weeks where other women are having them at 4. It could be 2 months, but they're painful. So when insulin is disrupting that whole thing, you have a problem. When you get the insulin under control and it allows these cues to happen more naturally, your periods normalize, your cycles normalize. I have a number of girls who, because they started almost 2 years ago, right after I did, they've already had their children that they were told they would never have. Their periods are normal. They've lost their weight. Their hair loss is gone. All that hair that's growing on your chin, that goes away too. So that's that. That's like a really, really brief explanation of it. I've done videos on it. You probably have to go back a few weeks. I'll try. I keep saying this, but I get so busy. I'm trying to get the videos cataloged so you guys can go back and see them at different points for the deeper explanations. Good morning, Karen. So, all right, you guys, I have all the pain, all the tiredness. So I want to go over this one more time before I have to go. So what we need to do to resolve the issue is understand that this is dietary born. This is not something that a medication is going to cure or fix. It's going to mask it, but it's not going to cure it. A medication for weight loss, a medication for diabetes is not going to make you more fertile. Melba, I'm so glad you found me too. She says, keep up the good work. You're helping people. She wants to order it. She's tired of her hair falling out, her body hurting constantly. She was taking Cymbalta for the pain, making excessive sweat. It was awful, so she quit. Feels like she's dying, must get this. Yeah, Melba, that's where I was. Unfortunately, we're all very stubborn. Look, had I not been at the phase I was when I started, I may not have started either, you guys, just be honest. But I felt like my back was up against the wall and I had to do something. So what we're going to do, yep, go to the link in the bio, and that's going to take you to a box at the bottom. Click on that. You'll see two red light symbols in my profile. Right under it is a link. Click on the link. It will take you to the page where you can order. And what you're ordering is this: a tea that I drink in the morning, and I'll go over why these in just a second, and a pre-meal drink that I have 10 minutes before my first two biggest meals of the day, and that's it. So the tea in the morning, which is what you see me sipping on all morning now, shuts down my hunger, gives me mental clarity, gives me energy, so I don't suffer from adrenal fatigue like I did 2 years ago. That was bad. Doctors tell me they didn't know how I was even upright. My cortisol levels were so out of whack. This helps with all of that, but it delivers components to the brain that are good for your brain. It has anti-cancer, antioxidant capacity in it. It also has neuroprotective gene expression in the brain, meaning it's protective in the brain. It's allowing you to have more normal uptake of dopamine and serotonin. And so that's that. It also allows me to burn my own fat for fuel, does not break a fast. So yeah, it's just yerba mate extract but it delivers about 375 times the yerba mate than a normal bagged tea because it's an extract that's concentrated. If you go to my webpage, all the ingredients are listed under the products page on my webpage, and the same place. You just go to my profile, click on the box that comes up. My webpage will come up, and all of the stuff, all the information you guys are looking for is there. There's way more information on the products, how they work, all of that. Just go to my webpage. That's why I created it. Um, Crystal Lynn, the tea is freaking amazing, right? So full disclosure, I woke up late because I was up late, and I sat down to do the live, and I looked around and I'm like, I don't have my tea. I'm sorry guys, you got to wait for 5 more minutes while I make my tea because I love it, right? It tastes great. Okay. So yeah, that's where you find it. So tea in the morning, tea in the morning. That's going to help get me through my 16-hour fast is done in about a half an hour, but I probably won't eat for another 2 hours still. And then when I do choose to eat, I will take this. And I drink this 10 minutes before I eat in some water like this. By the way, this bottle gets sent to you when you order your first kit. And that's it. I wait 10 minutes and then I eat whatever I want. Now, my daughter-in-law is going to be here in a few minutes. We're going to go to Costco, which is about a half an hour away. So we're probably going to grab lunch on the go. Guess what? I just throw this in my purse, tuck it in my pocket, and I can grab a bottle of water from the gas station, from the store, from whatever, mix it up if we decide to eat when we're out. That's it. Just this, some water. I'm good. I'm covered. There is a fiber in this. There are 7 different fibers in this. This is very different from the canister fibers that people think about because those are one type of fiber. That fiber is made to clean you out, make you poop, right? Okay. So this has 7 different soluble and insoluble fibers in it. So the ones that are helping things move through, but then there's fibers in this that are helping reduce the blood sugar spike. So they're encapsulating blood sugars and they're slowing down how they hit your system, and that's how the system works. In effect, it takes a high glycemic food and makes it a medium glycemic food. That's what the science says. The science tells me that. The science says that it reduces a blood sugar spike and an insulin spike about 13 to 20% with one packet. And then you can, because it's real food, if you're having a high glycemic meal, maybe it's high in pasta and very low in protein, you can have 2 of these to help with the excess carbs, and it will reduce the insulin spike by 28% when you do 2 packets. You can do that because it's real food. Having a hard time waiting to eat till 11, your blood sugar drops and you get very dizzy. Advice. Crystal Lynn, so you are just extremely insulin resistant. So a couple of things that you could do are watch the sugars you're taking in. If your blood sugar is spiking and dropping that quickly, you are one of the people who's going to have to be really careful with simple sugars. So I want you to start to transition to do what I talk about. Prioritize protein on your plate, prioritize fats on your plate, do the sugars last. Protein's not going to spike your sugar and insulin is high. Fats don't spike it at all. Those two things keep you satiated and full. And then slow down on the sugars. Every time you get simple sugars in your system, Crystalline, it's causing more of this roller coaster ride. So if you need to, though, if your blood sugars are dropping and you're getting dizzy, then you need to at 11. So how far into your fast are you at 11? If you need, guys, if you need to start out at a 12-hour fast, which you're really not getting a lot of benefit yet, but at 12 hours, your body's starting to learn that we're not going to feed it every 2 hours. So start there, and as you tolerate that, then move it up an hour, move it up an hour, maybe try an hour a week moving into the fast and allowing those blood sugars to start to normalize. In the meantime, the best thing that you can do to help that, shorten your fasting window till you can tolerate it and start ditching those simple carbohydrates out of your system so that your blood sugar can normalize. Yeah, it's so it's so crazy. There's so much going on, and you guys, whew, with everything else going on in the world, is it sad that we're being lied to about our food, that we're being given food that's making us sick, and they're getting ready to print our food, not even grow our food anymore? It's insane. And then we wonder why we're sick. And then we have to go in and have people point their finger at us like we're the ones who did all of this, right? So it's not us. Yes, we have some culpability. We have some responsibility in our own lives. We always do, right? So that's where, for me, the system came in. I'm like, well, if I want to change my life, I've got to change my life. You guys, that's one thing I want you to understand before I hop off today. Love you all. I want to give you all the information I can. But at the bottom of all of this is that statement I just made. If you want change in your life, you have to change your life. You cannot get better results by doing what you're doing currently. So if you're sitting there saying, I'm sick, I'm inflamed, I'm tired, I'm overweight, nobody's helping me, and I just gave you all these answers and you don't do anything, now it is your responsibility because now you have the information and you didn't do anything with it. That's a hard truth. And that's the truth for all of us, for everything in life, not just this. But with that, I got to go get ready because I can almost feel that my daughter-in-law is going to be here and she's got to get home to pick up my grandson by the time he's out of school. So I will be back tomorrow morning and we'll talk some more. Any of you guys who have questions, please, 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 please use my number. Um, I'm gonna do a card or do something that my number is hidden up there so you guys can get it. But um, if you need to talk to me, I'm more than happy to talk. Jason will tell you that. I will talk to you if you need me and help answer whatever questions I can. And in the meantime, I do have inflammation written down, so I'm going to try and do a video on inflammation, but I'll be doing more videos on weight loss and insulin resistance all week this week. So get the system, know that I'll be there to support you. And here's the thing, if you feel like it's not working, then you're going to get your money back. But would you rather in 90 days look back and be like, oh, that didn't work and I got my money back, and so I'm going to move on, or hey, that worked. I don't need my money back. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life because this worked amazing, or shoot, I passed it up. I'm sicker. I don't know what would have happened in the 90 days because I didn't take the step to move forward. Okay. Sure. Let me, Kelly, there's a link. Just click on that link. It will be, my number will be there. And I think I can put it in over here for you guys on Facebook, YouTube. So just text me there. And then you guys also, one thing is though, please text me first because I'm often either in meetings or on calls with people. So as soon as I see your text, I'll make room to call you back. But if you're calling and calling and calling and I'm not answering, it's not because Misha's ignoring you, it's because I'm on other calls, okay? And the best way to get my attention is just send me a text and I'll be like, oh, I got somebody waiting. I need to go talk to them. And I love talking to all you guys. I love helping. And I'm so appreciative that you've been here with me this morning and listened and contributed. I love when you guys all comment and say things. Fills up my soul. You guys just have no idea. Okay, I'm going to go. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.